We're back on the early edge, and it's time to take an early look at some wild card matchups and some best bets with Danny Brasco and Mike McClure. Danny, let's start with you. You know how we do. We go to our favorite side, our favorite total. We'll have some game and team total props, things of that nature. Start us off with your favorite side on wild card weekend.
I'm laying the big numbers, Sia. Give me Rams -10. This is already moving up to 10.5. I'm okay with it. I might honestly alt ladder up the spread, maybe to -19.5, because I think St. Louis, LA runs away with this one. This is the best offense in the NFL versus a team that just doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs right now. You take a look at the Panthers. They had a negative 69-point differential this season. That's the worst for any playoff team ever. Just for context, the New York Football Giants had a negative 58-point differential. That's how ugly some of these Panthers games have been. They put up 14 or less in 9 games this season. They've really won some feisty, kind of defensively focused games. That ain't happening against the Rams, who are just going to put up a number that they can't keep up with here. They didn't win once as favorites this season. Just kind of goes to show the quality of this Carolina Panthers team. Really, really an awkward, funky season. But again, in this first meeting where the Panthers curiously beat them, it was one of Matt Stafford's worst games of the season. A couple fluky interceptions. That's just not happening again. I think they put the beat down on them the second time around and just proved that they're not even in the same class. I got this one, maybe Rams 41-7.
Wow. 41. I mean, listen, I bet mostly player props, been doing pretty well in that department over the last couple of years. My sides haven't been as good. One of the last sides I bet was the Rams laying the points. So I'm a little skittish when it comes to the Rams laying points in Carolina. With all of that said, I totally understand the argument. Mike, I think one of the most compelling matchups is this Packers-Bears matchup. And I'm very curious as to what side you're on here. This is one of your favorite sides as well.
Yeah, pretty much a pick 'em here, -108 on both sides. I like the Packers to go on the road and beat this Bears team. Unfortunately, I know the Bears have had a great season. Still a little fluky in terms of how the results have shaken out versus where they grade out on a lot of the metrics that I care about. So when I look at this particular matchup, the rest advantage on the side of Green Bay, a team that really kind of needed it with some of the injuries that they had, that was big here. They got the opportunity to rest everyone, and knowing the situation that they were very likely to walk into. And now the fact that it's a divisional opponent, one that you've already put a ton of time and energy into scouting throughout the course of not only this regular season, but every regular season, that is significant to me, particularly in what we're likely to see in terms of the weather here. This is going to be a rain and snow game, very cold at night on Saturday in Chicago. And while you would think that helps a home team that's used to playing in those elements, Green Bay certainly fits that bill as well. And I actually like their style of play a little bit more if the game is impacted by weather like that. We certainly know it's going to be cold. I like the Packers, though. The rest advantage, I think they get the win on the road and quote unquote upset the Bears.
Yeah, it is. Looks like it's lining up to be just a pick 'em across the board at this point. Chargers plus 3.5 is going to be my favorite side. When I'm getting three, like the key number 3, and I'm getting the hook here, I just think it's too many points. I understand they're in New England. Chargers coming off some rest. And honestly, I think this is a very underrated Chargers team. Mike, I know you've been on the Chargers, at least in the beginning of the year and throughout the year to some extent. 3.5, way too much. Obviously, the strength of schedule is a question when it comes to the New England Patriots. I think the Chargers keep this game close. I think they can absolutely win, but I think if they lose, it's by a field goal or less. How about we go to our favorite total for Wild Card Weekend? Mike, kick us off.
I'm going to stay in that same game with you. See, I'm going to go Chargers and Patriots under the total. Part of the reason why the Chargers have been, in my opinion, so good and why they're still a legitimate threat is actually that defensive side of the ball. They're a very good defensive team. They're also very well coached. I think they understand the assignment here in this road matchup, and it's going to be a lower scoring, slower pace of play game that gets them to the fourth quarter, that gives them a shot to let their playmaker and Justin Herbert go win the football game. They know they're not winning this game by scoring 30 points and getting in a shootout. I think they control the clock early in this one. I love, again, a team that's coming in extremely well rested. You've got one of those rookie running backs you can really lean on in this particular spot as well. I think this game is competitive back and forth, but ultimately looking like a 24-20 kind of game. I'm going to go under this number here, 46.5.
I'll give out my total, Danny, before we get to yours. I'm going to go with the Texans Steelers. And what might sound like a bit of a contrarian play, I'm going to take the over 39.5 points. I think both of these defenses are pretty opportunistic, but I also think the offenses can open it up a little bit and take advantage of some of the shortcomings of these defenses. So I just think 39.5 is too little. I think we get to 40 in this game. I'm going to take the over in that one. Danny, talk to me about your total.
I'm going to take the under for the highest total on the board. Give me under 51.5 in Jaguars Bills. This might be pretty scary because you're facing a rolling Jaguars offense against Josh Allen in the playoffs. But I took a look at Josh Allen's total records in the wild card round, thinking he probably just smokes these early round playoff teams. 4-2 to the under in his wild card career. And it's really the run games of both of these teams. Both of them are going to look to exploit that weakness. Jacksonville should just be ground and pounding the Bills, who have not been able to stop anybody on the ground. And the Bills are a run funnel. They want to force you to run the ball and make you pass into that zone defense, maybe take a pick away from Trevor Lawrence. So I think the Jaguars are going to oblige Travis Etienne and company, ground and pound heavy attack. The Bills, James Cook, leading rusher this year. They'll be doing the same on the offensive side of the ball, and a lot of clock is going to bleed away. So really high total. The Bills are 5-3 to the under on the road this season, and the Jaguars have held 7 of their last 8 opponents to 20 points or less. 51.5 just too high. Even if we get a 27-24 score, I think we still cash this under.
Yeah, we have a bit of agreement here, Mike. When we get to our team total or first half bet, you actually like the Jags team total under.
Yeah, I like Jags under 26.5 here. It's just such a big number. I know 27 still becomes very key. I like Danny. I think that this game ultimately has longer methodical drives, particularly on the side of Buffalo. I don't see Buffalo hitting big chunk home run plays in this game. It's going to be a heavy dose of running the football or short area passing. The ball's going to be in James Cook or Josh Allen's hands a lot in this game. And I think that clock bleeds. So I like the under in this particular spot. Frankly, especially if you're talking preseason, you told me the Jaguars got to host a playoff game and they put up 24 in that playoff game. I would say it's a very good outcome and a very good season for them. So just the idea of they've got to go 27 or more to cash this team total. I'm not going to get in the way of trying to pick a winner. I'll just see if they can be held to under 26 points in this game.
All right, I'm going to go with Panthers-Rams. First half under 23.5. I think the path for the Carolina Panthers, I don't think they're going to stretch the field a ton against the Rams, even though you can potentially do that against the Rams. I don't see Bryce Young doing that. I think we see a lot of Rico Dowdle. I think we see a lot of Chuba Hubbard. And I think we see the Rams not necessarily stretching the field against Carolina either. I think it's a lot of dinking and dunking. I don't think we're going to see a ton of Puka Nacua down the field there. So I like the first half under until one of these teams has to really open it up. I think it's going to be relatively conservative. Under 23.5. All right. A game or team prop. Danny, go ahead.
Well, I do think we'll see some Puka Nacua, Sia. Of course, Devontae Adams is that number one red zone threat. He led all wide receivers in touchdowns this year, but he's banged up a little bit. He should be good to go for this wild card game. Nonetheless, I'll take Puka Nacua to score at plus 100. We're getting even money for a guy that scored in 3 straight games. If a lot of the attention goes to Adams, which the Panthers should do that, they gave up 2 touchdowns to him in their last meeting. I think Puka is just an obvious first-rated option. I think you can pick a ton of Rams scorers in this game and be safe. I think Kyron Williams gets in, Puka, Devontae. It's going to be a party. See, I like your first half under, but I think it'll be 20-3 Rams in the first half, and they'll just be going off.
I absolutely love it. All right, I'm going to go with Bears under 23.5 team total, which, Mike, I feel like is pretty consistent with what you laid out for that game. You also like total in that game, but it's the first quarter.
Yeah, first quarter under 9.5 here. Not a lot of difference in a first quarter between 9.5, 7.5, but we'll gladly take the 9.5 anytime it's offered at the same price point. For me, it's just divisional opponent. You talk about divisional opponent and then a playoff game. These teams are so familiar with one another, and the weather. It's going to be extremely cold, potentially precipitation in the form of either rain or snow in this one. That leads itself to running the football, running the clock, and again, just these teams are so familiar with one another, like the Packers' red zone defense here as well. Give me the under 9.5 in the first quarter.
All right, let's quickly roll through some player props, maybe 30 seconds or less here, Danny. Talk to me about your player prop that you already got an eye on.
Yeah, I got to look at Josh Allen over rushing yards. We know that he uses his legs in clutch time. It's the playoffs. Like Mike said, it's going to be a heavy dose of James Cook and Josh Allen. He's a playoff runner. He's averaging 55 rushing yards per game in his playoff career. And he's got that week off as well. He took that one snap, kept the streak going, and game started. And he's going to have a healthy body to pummel in on wild card round. I think he's going to take off plenty and cash this rush yards total for us.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence over 1.5 touchdown passes at plus 110. I just love the plus number that's attached to this. I understand your arguments, gentlemen, on the under. I kind of expect a little bit more from Jacksonville with regard to the scoring. I think they're going to be able to run it pretty easily, but I also think Liam Cohen trusts Trevor's arm in the red zone now more than ever. So I do think we're going to get a lot of plus territory opportunities and a couple of touchdown passes for Trevor Lawrence. Again, love the plus number attached to the over 1.5. Mike, what are you eyeing here?
I like Jalen Hurts rushing here. The numbers come down to 29.5 for Jalen Hurts. I think in these kind of situations, he's going to keep the football in his hands in certain elements of this game. When you look at the way San Francisco has defended and how beat up they are defensively, and then obviously having all the travel to deal with, just a tough spot for San Francisco, I think Jalen Hurts coming in well rested, has the opportunity to run the football, and I think his numbers should be in the mid to upper 30s in these kind of situations, particularly against a San Francisco defense like this. So over 29.5 rushing yards for Jalen Hurts.